All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's Uche Njoku. I'm here with my brother. Introduce yourself, bro.
A.T. say Archie Tyson, man. That's
A.T. Archie Tyson. We're here for another episode of the Ivy League Hood Rats. So, have a little music here playing. Do me a favor, as you get yourself together, go grab your drink or whatever thing that you need for the next hour. But even better yet, do me a favor, go ahead and share this link. If you're here on YouTube, share the link on YouTube. If you're here on Facebook, do the same thing. Instagram, Twitter, we're on all those 4 platforms. Share this link. Let's get a crowd here this evening. And we have some quite interesting polar topics, but controversial in its own right, across the board that we're going to be talking about this evening. So, let me go ahead and turn this music down. And if you're interested and you're like, what music is that? So first of all, I shouldn't mention this company's name, but they're not sponsoring this show. But there's an application that I use, and they have copy-free music. I wanted to say who they are. It's artlist.io, artlist.io. Copy-free music. So if you're podcasting, doing something, and you're worried about using music that might get your content removed, here we go. Here's an app but you have to pay for it though. That's the only problem. You got to pay for it. But I have a lot of good music on there. I'm gonna go ahead and we have some people here in the chat. My brother Solomon. Good evening. Welcome. And then my former student, and he joined the army, so I won't hold it against him. But he says here, big devil dog. Arr.
I know he was talking to you.
But listen, I have all love for all those who have the courage to serve. So this young man served and did his thing, So good evening, my brother. Welcome. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start this conversation. What am I missing?
No. Your former student said that he hit you and you ain't hit him back. So you please make sure.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, my bad. Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, hold up. Let me clear my glasses.
I don't know how.
Okay, first of all,
but this is
I sent you that email and even hit you on mobile, no response. I actually I did not get a text. So please, listen. After the show, I'm going to make sure that I sent you the right phone number. But I did not check that email account. I literally have 5 email accounts between 2 businesses and my work email. So I do apologize for that. But if you text me, I did not receive the text. My phone is with me all day. I did not receive a text. But however, after the end of the show, I will hit you up. Okay? So I will check my email. I'll forward it to you again.
My brother does have 5 or 6 email accounts, and I get confused. He's like, "Hey, can you write me this letter? What email account do you want me to send this on?"
Listen, I got an email account for the podcast. I have an email account for work. My personal, it's quite a few. And on an average day, Archie, how many emails you get an average day from your handful of accounts?
Work alone is a couple hundred. Then we're talking I got graduate school email account and my personal one, but I don't have 50 freaking personal one. My personal one is a Yahoo one. I hadn't changed it since the year 2000. Same thing with my phone number. I'm just like anybody who ever had my phone number, they still have it. I don't, some people change phone numbers, but when I don't want to talk to somebody, I just don't talk to them. And I tell them don't call me no more. And they typically respect it because I'm that kind of guy. But what I was doing was I was making sure that folks understood that we got love for the kids that we serve, because I do believe it's also serving communities and families. And I'm like, nah, if your former student said that you ain't hit him back, I'm being a real live brother and saying, hello, before we get started, let's address this and make sure that you hit this brother back, because we love and care for anybody that we've ever taught, been a dean for, a principal for. Me and this brother met. I had just moved to New York City, didn't have a job. I think you were still a dean back then.
Yeah, I was still a dean. And the funny thing is, this young man here was one of my students back then. At Becca, yeah. So we're talking
And
about
Becca, yeah, yeah,
yeah, and Becca.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I just got to tell them that funny story. We were at, I'm not gonna name the restaurant because my wife may have closed them down. But it's in the Bronx, near the courthouse, right? It's an Italian place, and boy, yeah, I moved to New York City, didn't have a job. For all you people who don't have any, what I don't even know, they call it game swag. You just know how to talk. You just want to be a boy instead of being a man. I ain't have a job. Was I not fat, black, and ugly and told a chick that I didn't have a job? But she said, "No, you got potential. I like the way you talk." And still, shot
uh,
me a number, right?
I do remember that.
I said, I said, this is wild. I flat out said, she said, "So what do you do?" I said, "Oh, I'm unemployed." She was like, "What? You just
Was
said
it
it like that?" Yeah.
that was also I remember that. Okay, was that the same? Was it that same restaurant where she did compliment and said yeah, you got potential, but then she had a friend who walked in, and she was like, "You gotta be my friend. My friend is a math teacher or something like that." You remember that?
Yeah, they always. And I said, because back then I was teaching math, and I'm like, oh, here we go. You want to, you know, get up here and trade some math blows, but I'll do it, you know.
But then it was like my friend has a master's degree. My friend has a master's degree. But remember, she asked me what I did, and I said I was a janitor. But I'm not lying. No, no. I said I clean schools. That's
Well,
what I said. I
you
said
do. You say you clean the school. We
I clean
do.
school. Yeah, I pick up
My first,
trash.
my first principal, Mr. Arthur Gray, down in Lake Village, Arkansas, Lakeside Middle School, right down in the Mississippi Delta, uh, told me something I do to this day. Don't ever ask somebody to do something you're not willing to do. I see Mr. Gray one day at school. The janitor got sick, had to go home early. He in there cleaning the bathroom. I'm like, "What you doing, Mr. Gray?" So I came in there and helped him out. He was like, "Look here." He called everybody a baby. So I was coaching baby because I coach stuff. And he was like, "Coach a baby, look, don't ever ask anybody to do something you're not willing to do." Right. So
Amen to
yeah,
that.
sometimes when you a dean, you a teacher, you a principal, you assistant principal, you also got to clean the toilets, wipe the cafeteria tables down, break up a
No,
fight or
listen.
two, and
That's
teach
one.
a class.
That's one of the things I learned in the military. Something. One of the things I learned from my father. It was you can't ask somebody to do something that you're not willing to do yourself.
So that's just my little speech. So we can jump to that first topic, but I just want to make sure folks knew that, like, one, we hold each other accountable because this brother holds me
Amen.
accountable, and we legitimately love anyone I've ever taught, anyone, like, I legitimately love all of my kids. I just saw online where a former student of mine at Kip in Memphis, he's back and he's a social worker at his former school, and it's a beautiful thing. And I just wrote him a quick note to say, I know you're gonna do great things. So we love anybody we ever taught, and definitely want you to go out and do just wonderful things. So let's jump to that topic. But I just had to first, make sure that that was out there in the atmosphere, and know that we always do everything in love. Let's get spicy this evening.
All right.
Hopefully, I
So
don't get myself in trouble.
so I just want to confirm I found the email, so it's there. Do me a favor. I just want to make sure so I don't forget. I'm going to type my number in again. Do me a favor. Text me. But the thing is, the thing too, you probably did call, and because your number's not on my phone, I get also tons of calls. So if I get a call and I don't recognize the number, I just send it straight to voicemail. And I won't lie, my voicemail is full. I get too many damn calls as well. So do me a favor, just hit me up on the text. I'm sending that number to you again just to confirm I gave you the right number. Hit me on the text. Okay, text me right now. I just sent it to you via email. All right. So which one should we start off with? The topic that you suggested or the one I talked about first?
Let's
The
go.
one I sent
Let's
to
go
you.
your way. Let's go your way first.
No, let's go
Well,
with yours first. Let's go with yours first because I have a feeling like that is also something. What I suggested is something
if you
we could talk about down the road as well if we don't have time tonight.
so if
Because
you
your topic is
have
very interesting.
it doesn't have to be a long drawn away. I just this open AI chat, like, I got a chance to play around with this tool, this artificial intelligence tool that will write entire essays. It will answer writing prompts. It will write writing prompts for you. And I was like, whoa, yo, teachers. And the only way you can tell that a student hasn't written this is that if you don't know your content or your research really well to know what this author said and what this author said, it'll make mistakes there. But in terms of like writing an entire essay out, it'll spit out an essay in 10 to 30 seconds on whatever topic. It's an amazing, like, what is it called? AI, open AI chat.
It's
Have
a
you
couple of them
like
actually.
it got, well, this one is ridiculous. It got dropped like the other Wednesday, and like I've played around with other ones, and one of our professors at teacher college like felt compelled to kind of stay after class and kind of show us around this tool and how it's different from the other ones. It is an amazing something, and it's literally scary because you don't have to think.
Yo, check. Yo,
What is this? Open chat? The open AI, right? It is that open AI tool is scary, right? It's I knew a bunch of teachers didn't know their content, didn't have great content knowledge. Hell, I was one of them when I first started because I stayed about 3 lessons ahead of students when I first started teaching math, and then when I later taught history, like that was majored in that in college, so could think, had the content, deep content knowledge there, but if you're not reading papers closely and know your students and know their writing, yo, this thing is and literally you can ask it the same prompt 10 times and it's going to come out with 10 different essays.
so there's another one called Quillbot, and that one I came across last year because I had some students who were submitting papers, and all of a sudden they were phenomenal writers.
Phenomenal.
Like they were phenomenal writers. The content was a little off topic, but I would think, but the thing is, if I didn't know them based on their writing skills, I would just say, you know what, you consider these other ideas to put in your paper and improve upon it. And I would have been like, yo, your writing is excellent. But the fact that I knew these students, I was like, get the fuck out of here. You did not write this. Because I have other
Right.
papers you've written that were complete trash. What is this? You know?
And you just
But
don't go from trash
you don't.
writer to like
No.
excellent,
And I'm gonna
like
take
not
that back.
overnight.
And listen, I'm brutal with my students because listen, I went to college during an era when I had professors who were literally like telling me like
Tell you
you're not
your
gonna
work is
survive.
trash.
Yeah, they would
Oh,
literally like you're not gonna survive here. You can't write.
oh. So I got told, not only did I get told I couldn't write, but I had a professor that booked me 26 appointments in the writing lab. He wrote on a paper, you people normally come here thinking you can write. You can't. I did the liberty of booking you 26. I took the liberty of booking you 26 appointments in the writing lab. Now, I know what you're saying. Some of people, oh, Black Lives Matter and all this stuff could have, went off on him and was like, oh, you people, what do you mean by you people? And that crossed my mind. And then I realized, who the hell takes the time to book me 26 appointments in the writing lab legitimately? You must be invested in my success. And
Yeah,
I
I had a
listened,
professor. Yeah,
and I went and
see,
learned how to write.
it
Now I
took
later
me
on
two. It took
addressed
me the
that
same
you people
time.
thing. We had a conversation, and he didn't. And it's like it wasn't you black people. No, you people that come from low socioeconomic communities in schools that were terrible. Come here to elite institutions thinking you can write. Yeah, you were the big fish in that pond, and you need to step it up because one of these days I'm gonna want you to go get your master's and doctorate, and you can't do that writing like this. And you remember when we were in our master's program, I'm not gonna call names, I'm not gonna name groups, but ooh, it was some people in there that could not write. They were struggling and they could not do X, Y, and Z. And it was like, what? What? What's going on? Like complaining, oh, this work is hard. What you had
Comments
Columbia
like
in a
comments like
master
where do you expect us to find the time to do all this writing? And what they were saying is that They didn't have enough time. They just couldn't write. It's a muscle that you have to exercise. It took me till
Yeah.
my junior year until I felt confident that where I wasn't having like stomach cramps submitting papers. Because I was like, yo, I'm gonna get this paper. It's gonna be bloody. Like my papers get destroyed. Because the thing is, I'll tell you this: we don't understand how writing is a true representation of intelligence. Your ability to take a thought, and critically analyze it, break it down, regurgitate it in your own words, and assess what you're saying. Like that, it took me 3 years, 3 years of college. It was by my junior year that I was like, okay. I where I said I can write. Not I was a phenomenal writer. Not I was good. I can actually present a legible thought. It took me 3 years.
I don't know if in my lifetime I'll be able to, keep up with the likes of, I always say when I look back and read, like, W.B. Du Bois wrote so much. I don't even know if you can read it all in this lifetime, but different era, different time. We're on social media talking tonight at 10, where they would be under a lamp and actually writing their thoughts out. So I mean, I always say, but it is something to be able to take your thoughts and take several pieces of information and synthesize something new out of it, and and have your word. It's another thing to have your words move people, right? um but this AI tool, it's a scary thing, because it can make those who are terrible and mediocre and haven't put in the work, or haven't flexed their muscle, and really, it'll have folks thinking that and believing that they're in a different space. You remember when I said, like, it's the Letterman jacket argument. You know how, like, these days
Yeah,
all the kids a couple years ago, they were just rocking Letterman jackets. You remember when Letterman jackets used to mean something? When you got a letter, when you got your letter, you oftentimes got your letter before the jacket. But when you got your Letterman jacket and you walked around with it in high school or college, it meant that you put in a certain amount of work, that you could talk shit from. That meant that you were gonna have stories when you were too old and gray and decrepit to play ball. No, I can't play ball no more. I can't. But you were gonna have stories because you put in work. Everybody want to be somebody, but having to be somebody these days. And that AI tool just lets folks who hadn't put in the work. You can be a great writer. You can be submitting. Now, granted, you're gonna get caught by really, really smart and talented folks.
yeah, but check this. But Archie, have you thought about this? Okay, have you thought about this? The number of people out there who are authors online, or not even online, in just who are authors, because that's the thing that's interesting. When you read blogs, people don't realize. Like I don't even read blogs anymore because I read them and I get pissed because I'm like, this doesn't sound like the person who I follow in social media and I watch their videos. This writing does not sound like them because no matter how much you want to separate the speaker from the writer, there's certain stylistic way of communicating that reflects itself in verbal and written as well. And come to find out, a lot of these blogs are not being written by people, the people who are presenting it. Either they have a ghostwriter who they're paying a lot of money, and now you have the technology. They'll do it for you. You give it a topic. If you're knowledgeable enough, you just have to edit. Maybe add some things here and there. So think about it. You probably could put together a whole entire book over the course of a weekend, 200, 300, 400 pages, just by having the AI put the topics for you. And most of us don't read. Most of us don't read deep enough. We skim through books. We go to different chapters. So you can put out a whole entire book. And some of these people out there, I see that they're talking about, yeah, I have 10 books out, 11 books out. I'm like, you got 10, 11 books out? You better got a high school diploma? Like,
I mean,
how's that possible?
now my thing is, again, if you got the time to sit down and write and get it done, okay, c'est la vie. And two, I just want to make sure folks, because somebody's gonna come and say, "Oh, you're saying that people gotta have 50 degrees or be
No,
Ivy
you don't.
League."
No, you
No, you
don't.
don't. No, you
Absolutely
don't
not.
at all, in any shape, form, or fashion. I always say, my granddaddy was one of the most brilliant people that, I mean, again, the professors and stuff from Mississippi State and Ole Miss used to come and ask him about the diseases in trees, because he knew that he was a land surveyor by trade and barely had a sixth grade education, but was brilliant. But yeah, there is something to honing your craft in environments that allows you to get better. And yeah, you got some folks that are, out here using a tool, and folks that don't know how to deeply read. And I mean, well, just in general, the U.S. is what 31st or whatever, 30 something in literacy. I mean, most magazine newspapers and other media are written on an eighth grade or below level. So
They said the LA Times and New York Times is fifth grade level.
fifth
Fifth.
grade. Yeah. So because you, again, never has there been a country where the highly educated is so low and the mildly educated is so high. So, you know, again, we're writing at a fifth grade level, and people are struggling to keep up at a fifth grade level, right? So you got a lot of folks that's walking around functionally illiterate, but again, this tool right here will, have folks. I mean, if someone's teaching at a community college and they're not really attentive and they're not really well read, let's be real. All places in teaching is not the same, and their students are submitting papers here, and it looks good and it sounds good as I get through there, and I'm not having to give high quality feedback. Man, they kill it. They killing you. They killing you, doc. You
Yeah, but
don't you don't even, you don't even know.
I'm gonna argue that yes, now we have technology that does it for you. We have technology that does. Listen, you've seen those AI drawings and paintings where you upload your picture and it
Yeah,
gives you like I listen. I did a set of them and I was like, God damn, how the
you can
hell?
say you can say what you wanted to, create
Yeah,
like original. Hey, and yeah. So
it
it's
put it for
it's
you.
it's it's getting
But
scary
but check
out
this
there.
out though. You got now the technology can do this for you. But prior to the technology, a lot of these Ivy League schools and these top universities, students were paying other students to do their papers for them. I mean,
Yeah,
that's always been a thing. There's a lot of people out there who have whole degrees that didn't do and what you but just be honest. You go to college, you can you can get a degree in a field that doesn't test. It's just papers. If you have the money, you can pay people to write your papers for you, and guess what? You're graduating summa cum laude and magna cum laude or whatever cum laude that's out there. It's just that now you're just paying a subscription to an application, to software that will do it for you. But now this is the scary part. Our young people in high schools, middle schools, because you said, if you are an educator who's not actually thinking deep and doing that work, and we know, I'm sorry, I'm not mincing words. If this hurts your feeling, then it hurts your feeling if you're watching.
yeah,
Because as a teacher, if you're about your salt, you know what I'm talking about. I said this to a friend of mine yesterday. In my 18 years, if I count every year that I was actually paid to be in a school building working, it was 18 years. 65%, if not 70% of the teachers that I was around were trash. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can only think about a handful of teachers that I was like, oh my God, this person is amazingly phenomenal. Because because what I mean by trash, no, I'm gonna say trash. It was just a job. I'm gonna do the barest minimum, and I'm gonna do enough to not get fired.
hmm
Okay. So now they're not reading papers. They're not. I've seen student work that's been put on bulletin boards, and I'm reading it. I'm like, did you read this? And this kid got an
I,
A.
I visited schools and yanked papers down. I've yanked papers down that like what is this? Right? And I don't mean to be, well, yes, I do actually mean to be. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
everybody, and
sorry.
I say this all the time, people are so I said this on a couple of episodes back. People are so sensitive, and again, you can't say anything. You can't. First of all, you can't cancel me on social media because I ain't on shit. LinkedIn, maybe. I don't do all the rest of social media, and it's not because, well, one, I don't have time. I had three kids, a whole wife, a whole doctoral program I'm in, a whole job I'm doing, other responsibilities. So I don't have time for all that, and if I did. I can't stand what is that, Twitter fingers and Facebook gangsters, because I'm from the hood, first of all. So you know all that stuff that you say online, that I know for a fact you wouldn't say if I was standing there.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And I know somebody's probably gonna say, "So you're saying you'll get violent?" Hell yeah, I'll be violent. What are we talking about here? Now, notice I said in my face. Now, I'm not. Words are not gonna move me to violence for the most part. But I do subscribe to what Brother Malcolm said. Be what? Be peaceful. Be courteous. Obey the law. Respect everyone. But if somebody put their hands on you, you do what? Send them to the cemetery. I hold firm to what Brother Malcolm said. I think we should have listened to him a whole lot more. And I hold firm on uh, Dr. King growing closer to Brother Malcolm's thinking is what got him killed.
Yeah.
It was good with you saying civil rights, but when you start saying
Poor people.
stand up and be a human being,
Be a
respect
human
me as a
being.
whole, respect me as a whole human. Fuck a right to vote. Fuck a this go riding in front of the bus. No, respect me as a human being, a full man. I am a man or a woman. That gets killed.
Yeah. And we're
You
talking
got
about
him killed.
resonating beyond race now, because he started bringing together people with one commonality:
Yeah.
poverty and being cheated in society, and they can have that happen. It's funny because I watching Judas and Black Jesus. That was my
Yeah.
watching that and seeing they weren't mad at him because he was a Black Panther.
No,
They were mad at him
him.
because he was a Black Panther who was pulling together, um, the Latinos and the Confederate flag flying white boys who were like, "Yo, we're rocking with you because we have the same interests."
We have the same interest because, to quote one of my classmates here, I told him I'm gonna use this line in my dissertation some type of way. Poverty be making people crazy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Fred Hampton was murdered because, and I do say murdered, he wasn't killed. It's a difference. He didn't just
Definitely,
die. It's a difference,
It was
right?
assassination.
I got roasted by my mentor Kati because I wrote in the paper one time that when Malcolm X died, she said no, he was murdered. Right. But she grew up seeing him on the street corners in Harlem. So she said, no, he was murdered. It's a difference. I said, you're absolutely correct. Because I've had plenty of friends that was murdered and they didn't just die. But yeah, he was bringing people together, poor people of all kinds together and saying, wait a minute, somebody got to explain why I don't have nothing. And it's like this, it's that whole notion right now of you got poor white folks all over the place that are rebelling against the traditional Republican Party because they're saying somebody got to explain why we don't have anything, right? And I said it a couple episodes ago when they're waking up and saying, "Wait a minute, you're treating me like you've treated the blacks," and the black folks are like, "Yeah, Fred Hampton was trying to tell you."
Yeah.
But they killed him before he could actually get to enough people to say, because that is actually power. We, like, folks in poverty way outnumber, and I'm not living in poverty anymore, so this might be dangerous for me. But they way outnumber folks that are middle class, folks that are upper middle class, upper class, and then folks that are rich. So that'll get you killed. You start bringing people, like really bringing people together. That's some destabilizing shit. So yeah, like we talk about that at our school. I want to open schools where you can have a conversation about that. But that might be a bit too much. I don't know even how we divulged onto that topic. It must have been on my heart again. We're supposed to be getting on to Deion Sanders. You know,
Uh,
the bottom line is don't be out here using this AI tool thinking you Ida B. Wells or Dr. Du Bois. You're not.
and,
You
and
ain't
and the
gonna
funny thing about it, people don't realize that even when the AI itself is still pulling from real content, it's not
be,
it's not actually writing from scratch for you. It's pulling, and then when it pulls, it makes sense of it, right? So you can still take that paper and dump it into a a search tool that will scour the internet and still identify chunks of it.
Not
You know,
this new one.
okay,
Not this. That's the scary part about this new one.
because with
It,
Quill,
it,
that's what I did, and it started to identify lines, like unique lines. I was like, wait a minute, this line's from
no,
here, and
we
then it wasn't referenced.
We tried it in class, asked it to write the essay, the same question, 10 different essays. We ran it through what professors use because professors are lazy too. They run stuff through, no, it doesn't. It literally, yeah, it pulls from billions of pieces of info. It pulls from a little bit of everything, but it doesn't you unless it's a direct quote. And when it direct quotes, it actually does label the author correctly. So, like literally, it
Oh
doesn't,
damn!
and that is the scary thing. The one thing that we were able to figure out is sometimes it will lie when it comes to saying that this author said this, right? It'll give the wrong, it'll give a reference that on its face, if you don't know your content, will be incorrect, right? But if you are not deep reading this, or you're kind of okay with your content, you're not gonna know the difference. It's scary. So this is well, I said, like, check it out. It's a different type of animal there. But yeah, well, I know we got to move on to Dion, but I just wanted to make sure that folks know that was out there, and don't be out here thinking you Dr. Du Bois and you Ida B. Wells, and you just a brilliant writer, you know, like, do the work. Do the work. You want to be great, do the work. Put in the work. Earn a Letterman jacket. Earn your title. I always say it, and what did I say to my teachers? The first part of training, I open my staff development always up with, I start with love and I'm going to end with love. I love everybody, and if you love your students real hard, you're going to be successful, right? Because once your students know you love them, they're going to have your back, and you have their back. But I said, if you don't earn a nickname in a school, you ain't doing shit. My kids used to call one friend of mine, Mr. Allen. He was Thanos and I was Megatron, right? They had code. If your kids don't have code names for you when you coming down the hallway, you ain't called an intercepted a text with your code name in, you ain't doing shit. You ain't working hard enough. So if you out here listening and you on here and you just still Mr. Right, if you just still Mr. Njoku or Mr. Tyson, and you hadn't elevated yourself to, yeah, they like, oh, the Incredible Hulk. Like,
This
if
came from the
you don't
kids.
have a
They used to be like
nickname,
Njoku Smash. They were like Njoku Smash. He's coming down
right,
the hallway.
right. If you
Yo,
ain't got a nickname, and you quote me on this, if you and I'm going all the way to Memphis, man, and folks know what I'm talking about when I holler out that man. Look at, man, if you ain't got no nickname, man, you ain't doing shit. Right? Your kids don't really respect you unless they got a nickname,
yo,
and unless there's a
yo.
healthy fear and reverence of you. Right? If you don't walk in the classroom and that shit get quiet and that last kid in there talking because he don't see you or she don't see you, you ain't doing shit. Right? So if
Facts.
you ain't got no nickname, yeah, if you ain't got no nickname right now, you halfway through your third, fourth year teaching, or you second year principal, and your kids, and you ain't, yeah, if you ain't, and I ain't just talking about, the Eagle. Now they get real creative with that. But yeah, they I code name Megatron. It's like
Yeah,
Megatron
Megatron. I
because
need
he
that. Yo, that sound cool. Mine was
they
just,
like
yo, here he
they
come,
like
Njoku Smash. I was
they
like, for
like
real,
Tyson.
yo.
Like Tyson the Transformer, your ass. He'd be the hoodest of hood rats in 1 minute, and then turn around and talk about Nietzsche and quoting Booker T. Washington in the next line, and then he's back to something like we don't know what we go. He'll transform on you real fast. Like, he'll come in there and cuss everybody out, and then turn around and do a whole lesson on Fred Hampton. Just took over a whole teacher's English class, 30 minutes, give you a writing prompt, then turn around and give you feedback on the writing prompt by the end of the day. Why? Because I care. But you can transfer, go somewhere else where they don't give a damn. You see how that's gonna work out for you. But yeah, if you ain't got no nickname, you ain't doing shit. Get your nickname. Nah, Deion Sanders.
All right,
What we want to say
so
about this?
so this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna play a clip. You probably heard this clip before, and and this will be the the hook into this conversation. So I think I have it timed properly, but I might not. But I want to go ahead and play it, and then if I have to adjust it,
While,
I'll adjust it. So
while
what you're
he's
going to hear
preparing,
is Dr. Umar Johnson on the Breakfast Club.
while
You
he's
know,
preparing this, yes, I am drinking juice boxes instead of Uncle Nearest tonight. I know somebody's probably going, did that brother just have a swig of a juice box? Yes, I did have a swig of a juice box. I do have 5-year-old, 4-year-old, and 1-year-old. Just put that out there.
sometimes they hit the spot.
Let's hear from
So,
Dr. Johnson. If
so let
he's
me
a
see.
doctor, I don't know. Is he a doctor? He say a
He has
doctor. Where is he?
a doctorate in school psychology.
From where?
That I don't know, but he touts. He has
Why
several
are you doing that?
degrees. Yeah,
Pull it up. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look for him.
yeah. Let's let's validate his credentials.
Kyrie's situation an issue. So if you're going to make, if Charlemagne does it, it's okay. Amazon is still.
Okay, so let me see right here. Deion.
Jerry Jones don't deserve this. He don't deserve than they are about the movement, and that's why I'm disappointed in Deion Sanders.
Okay. Okay, here we go. All right. So I'm gonna play this piece. And yeah, let me just play it. I'm just go ahead and play it. And if you're listening right now, you have any commentary, please share. But I'm definitely interested in what Archie has to say about this. So let's go ahead and play.
NFL athletes and our NBA athletes don't have enough courage. They're more concerned with money than they are about the movement, and that's why I'm disappointed in Deion Sanders.
Hold on one second. I don't think there's no defense. I know. I don't think there's no defense for Jerry Jones.
And there's no
whatsoever.
defense for Stephen A. Smith and Michael Irvin defending him either. Let that white man speak for himself.
And I like what
y'all don't take up for black people like that. Stephen A., you threw Kyrie under the bus, and Michael did. So when a white man psychology my whole life, I got a doctorate in it. I got 3 master's degrees in it. I got 2 certifications in it. You know what they tell you in psychology?
What's that?
That the human personality is largely fixed by the age of 5. 5. Jerry Jones was 14.
Right.
If you're going to
He's
tell
still
me that
talking
Jerry
about
Jones
Jones. I'm trying to get to Deion.
corporations and systems that systematic.
black issues.
I didn't ask you about speaking. Let me go back to my question. My question was, name me a black celebrity or entertainer who has built a
Right, I want to fast forward a little bit more.
black athlete or celebrity.
Charlemagne gave Donkey today to people that would criticize him.
I know.
That's right.
And I'm coming right at it.
There we go.
Let's go.
I'm coming right at it.
Let's go.
More lashes.
I'm coming right at more lashes.
And real quick, so he does this thing where he gives people lashes, verbal lashes. So he will say that this brother deserves 5,000 lashes, or number of lashes, and that kind of bothers me. I'm like, as a black man who is touted to be educated and touted to be pro-black and moving us in the positive direction, why would you use the language of lashes? Saying another man should, because you don't agree with them, they should get lashes. So something he was saying, I was like, where'd that come from? That's my first time ever hearing anybody use that, especially someone of his quote unquote stature, as a doctorate in school psychology.
Well,
I just want to put that out there.
It's supposed to be a doctor of psychology for Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, but
Okay,
I mean,
why am I laughing?
lashes. No, ain't nothing wrong. No, okay. Like, okay, I'm not gonna call him there tomorrow. I'm not gonna call him tomorrow and find out about credentials. But I think that, one, I don't disagree with him at all in regards to the lack of commitment by so many celebrities and people with means to change the realities that they see around, because that's been taught to us to not be in communities. And every time you go trace our history in this country, every time we've built community, we've talked about it on this show, every time we've built community, it's been systematically attacked and destroyed, whether it's burned down, bombed, flooded, or whatever, right? Lynchings. So I do think that it's something there, that we're not able to pool our vast resources in this country and fund the type of schools that we really should fund for our kids. So I do think it's something there. And like you can't put this all on Deion, right?
That's okay. So let me just address what you just said as far as that thing that does exist, and you're very right about that. There is something within not just America, within the diaspora, within Pan Africanism, where people who have the means don't necessarily exercise their leadership in pulling us together. Because again, the NFL, NBA, celebrities, we're talking about billions of dollars. Where what would amount to tax write-offs can be donated to communities to build schools and things of that nature that can transform communities, and that doesn't happen. But that's been the case as far as I can remember. In Nigeria, you have people who have extreme wealth, but that wealth stays within small spaces. Without the thought of, okay, what if we contributed and built schools and hospitals and grocery stores in neighborhoods that need them. So you're right about that. There's something that's there, but my question is, but what about everybody else?
Well, again, you can't put that all on Deion's shoulders.
On Deion, exactly.
The movement was started and it will end with him. Let's be real. Again, Maryland lawyers in Maryland were able to get $600 million for the 4 HBCUs because they proved that they weren't funded correctly here. That's Black Lives Matter. That is more powerful than Deion being at Jackson State 3 years. Hell, that's laying the foundations for Morgan State to be the first HBCU in 45 years to get a
Medical school.
new medical school,
Yeah.
right? So, again, you can't lay that all on Deion's shoulders. Jackson State had a phenomenal band before Deion got there, and they'll have a phenomenal band when he leaves. Jackson State played in the Southern Heritage Classic there in Memphis, and they have a strong alumni base. Their thousands and thousands of alumni could buy one less pair of Jordans a year and write a check. Not buy a Cadillac, buy something else, and write a check to the school if you really gave a damn, right? If Umar Johnson wants to put that all on Deion, you should be hitting everybody and saying, hey, let's get money and pay that brother equally to stay down there at Jackson State and continue coaching, right? But, and honestly, I heard, and I don't know how true it is, I heard rumors that like Deion was reaching out to folks to try and do, like, folks don't step up to the plate. So I think he's right in that regard about folks with celebrity status or folks with financial means, or just brothers don't step up to the plate, sisters don't step up to the plate and do for their own community, right? At the Griot Awards, I remember Dave Chappelle mentioning that his mother would write a $25 check to who was it? I think it was him. His mother would write a $25 check to the United Negro College Fund, right? Every month, right? Every month. Similarly, I donate every month to certain causes, right? I'm contemplating now about writing a check to Morris Brown College. They finally got their certification back after 20 years, and like, so put your money where your mouth at, right? And I'm not rich or anything. Well, I guess according to the poverty scale standards in Maryland, like I guess they do, but I'm not rich or anything. But I do believe that you have a responsibility to cut a check beyond that. Like I told myself I need to start donating to Russ College in Holly Springs, Mississippi, another HBCU, small one. My mother went there, right? And you should honor those institutions that help educate your ancestors. So I think it's something there, but to put that all on Deion's shoulders, come on. Deion
Yeah.
is going to take care of his family. He's also going to take care of those black boys that are out there in Colorado playing football, and he's not going to allow them to be exploited either. So, but you can't put that all on his shoulders squarely alone, that HBCUs are going to close because of Deion. No,
So
HBCUs that close will close because collectively and individually, we don't write a check and say, hey, I don't have much, but this $100 right here, I was going to buy a bottle of liquor. Instead, I'm sending it here.
let me do this, because for those people who didn't hear this, I'm gonna play a little bit more of it, and we'll come back.
Deion Sanders stood against Colin Kaepernick's protest in 2016. I branded him a Negro peon.
He did?
Yes, he did. He said he did. I saw him say it out his mouth on an interview. He said he should not have taken that knee. It was wrong. Deion Sanders. I put him in the Negro peon camp because he didn't stand with Colin Kaepernick. When I heard Deion Sanders was taking the job, I said, okay, I'm going to give him his black pass back. Because here you are, one of the top 5 greatest athletes, arguably the greatest football player ever, including Tom Brady. Deion could go down as greater than. You go to Jackson State, HBCU. That's impressive. Now I hear all of a sudden you might be leaving.
Well,
So
he's leaving.
Oh, he's gone.
he's
Yeah.
gone. Stay with me. He's wrong. But I have 2 levels of wrong. I got a low level and I got a high. I'll explain them to you quickly. My low level. If Deion told the administration and the students and the players at Jackson State that I'm taking this job, but I need y'all to know, if something better comes along, as soon as it comes along, I may be leaving you.
He did say that.
He said that.
If he was that transparent, I didn't see that.
I played the clip the other day. He said it on 60 Minutes. He said that.
No, he said he may be leaving. He did not say he was leaving after 3 years.
No, he said that if a Power 5 school comes
office,
along,
yes.
I have to entertain it. I would be a fool not to. And Deion has
That's
always
not
been
the same.
No, Deion has always been transparent and open about what his goals were.
That is not, no, I disagree with you. He told them if it comes his way, he would have to entertain it. He never said I would leave you that soon. He never said I can be gone in 3 years.
What does it matter though? His contract was
I'm
only
going to tell
for
you
4.
why it matters. I'm about to tell you right now why it matters. Because he damn wrong. Now, if he told them, if I'm going to go back and study some more, but from what I seen him say, he was not that direct. But
Definitely
if he was, and that's not what I saw, so we disagree there. But if he was, he's still wrong, but it's a low level because at least you was transparent and you gave him informed consent. They knew you could leave.
But okay, that part right there. So he, as a human being, as a man, he can't just make a decision that's best for him and his family.
Nah. Well, that's the part you honed in on. The part I honed in on is, okay, so who made you lord of handing out and snatching back black and Negro passes?
See, because I knew you, because I saw you, bro. I saw you above your head. So I was like, I'm gonna let you talk about that. But you put your head down, you were like this.
I'm just saying, like you are now Lord. You HNIC. Do I need to explain that to folks? I'm gonna say head Negro.
Head Negro.
Right.
If you saw what was it, Joe Clark, what was that? Lean on Me.
Yeah. So you're able to ascertain whether or not someone passes whatever litmus test for being black. So that automatically to me disqualifies a lot of what you're saying, because you're not the all and beholder of. We're not a monolithic people. You know what I'm saying? We're not the same. Like, even though people always think, oh, all black guys look the same, especially ones bald headed with beards. But no, like, so we're very diverse people, right? So I'm not mad at all at black conservatives. Herschel Walker, that's a different situation altogether. I know somebody said, "Oh, yeah, you would have voted for Herschel Walker." Hell no, I wouldn't vote for Herschel Walker. Hell, if he was, it don't matter what platform he was running for, because he didn't have the same teachers that I had. Yeah. And I ain't saying that if you had an IEP, or if you a special education baby, or if you in a self-contained class, that you cannot excel and do wonders. Because I know folks, and I've had students that have done wonders.
I did.
Herschel Walker ain't one of them people that's just, intellectual. But No, I'm just saying, like when you start holding the black card over folks' head and dismissing people because they ain't black enough, or they don't talk like I talk or eat like I eat. Like I have a problem with that because again, we're not a monolith. We're not a monolithic people. But again, Dion is doing what Dion do. It's not like he not gonna continue to support Jackson State and HBCUs, but what are we talking about here? $300,000 for what? $6-7 million? Yeah, I don't know what the figure is, but a couple million. What? Why are we even having a conversation about what that is? You gonna pay
About
the
$30 million in 5 years.
so you gonna pay the difference, right? So that's all I'm saying. There, so like yeah, he might take a $500,000 of that and send that back to Jackson State. You never know. I remember looking at something that Farrakhan said back in the day, and I am not making an endorsement of anybody, but he said you got to be careful who you calling Tom, because Tom might be the one. Everybody, oh, he Uncle Tom. Tom might be the one that's feeding all of the slaves. You don't even know. You have no idea what Tom. You remember they were calling Colin Powell Tom for the longest. Oh, he's Republican Tom. And guess what? At the last minute, when they asked him who he was voting for, he said, "Oh, I'm voting for Mr. Obama." And you had a whole bunch of white Republicans that voted for Obama because he said it. So
Yep.
all y'all were calling him Tom all that time, but Tom saved his play until you needed me to come out blacker than ever, right?
Yeah, like
You know what I'm
100 black,
saying?
and he's a member of the 100 Black Men. Like I mean, he did his part. He just did not have to announce to everybody.
Right. So you don't have to announce and say, "Ha ha, look what I." So I think oftentimes folks like Umar Johnson, and I have a classmate again, ain't gonna call no names, but when when you go out looking for celebrity, it's almost like you ever see the dudes in school or the dudes at the club, and they good looking dudes. They got because I've been fat, black, and ugly all my days. Some lady is gonna say, "Oh, you're not fat, you handsome," and I'm gonna say, "I appreciate that, boo boo." Dope black dad. Shout out to my sister in law for sending this up to me. Tam, you did a good job. She makes these. So you wondering where to buy it from? You can't. Well, I guess you can. I'll send you her website, Mojo Monkey or something like that. But you can't. It is I don't know. I just get perturbed by people when they're trying to quantify one's blackness and try and hold it over your head as if like you have to conform to something. So I always say, yeah, you're looking for attention, right? You're that guy that none of the ladies pay attention to. I guess these days none of the guys pay attention to either. Uh, in the club because you're not cool. Yeah, you can go get a couple of degrees. You know what I'm saying? But you're not cool. It's almost like that person at a party. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Who, when you smell them, yeah, I hear you telling hood tales, but yours are slightly off. Something wrong with that. It don't matter whether you came up in Inglewood or Memphis, Chicago, Atlanta, New Orleans. What up, Woody? What she say in the store when I go get the stuff from Key Foods, the catfish and grits and biscuits from Key Foods over there by the project. She say, "Hey, baby," and nothing like that in the world. But some about some of them dudes' stories be off. You say
Off.
you from where? You say you from where? Oh,
You got your
uh-uh.
degree. You got your degree from where?
A degree from where? But when you own that all that old, you holding people's blackness. You say you from where? You from the west side of Chicago? Nah, I don't smell that on you. It's certain education can polish you up. Education can give you the cultural capital to learn how to present in different spaces and
But
places.
that's a
And
key word. It can,
it
but it
can.
doesn't always.
And you remember we can dress up in our peacock clothes and I can go and present and sound like this and but when somebody got that you can't wash all the hood and poverty. Poverty do make you crazy a little bit. And you can't wash the hood off because you don't seen too much. You've been through too much. So sometimes people go around looking for attention because you ever seen what is it? the black people that grew up all the way out in the suburbs. Shout out to the suburbs. My kids growing up in the suburbs, but they want to be. They're so hood that even the folks in the hood don't believe that. Like, what are you doing? Like, you look silly. You look
You more gangster than
stupid.
gangsters.
Like, you more gangster than I went to college with a kid. He was so gang. He was more gangster than like real live gangsters that I know. Like catch that, cut your head up and drop you in the river. Like, but he was more gangster than them. Like, what are you doing? You look so silly, man. And I think sometimes people like Dr. Johnson needs that attention. And now you're gonna tell Deion that you're gonna revoke his black card and get his black card back. What? What are you talking about? Two, you don't even know what that man does in private. Uh, I just don't subscribe to it. I don't throw people away so easily. Like I said with Kanye, and Kanye is off the wall crazy, needs some help, yada yada yada. But sometimes I can be crazy. I just don't throw people away in our community that quickly because, again, I always say I don't want to be judged at my lowest moment, most certainly. And like, who are you to go down your path of doing the full judgment of me because I made a decision as a man to do something different. Deion might get out there to Colorado and hate that shit and go crawling back to Jackson State or crawling to FAMU or something. You don't know.
But the other thing too is this, and this is where I find this very interesting because only a few people are talking about the fact that he's cleaning house at Colorado. He's bringing black coaches who would probably never have the opportunity
Yep.
to coach at a Big Five school. And not only that, the number of athletes that are leaving Notre Dame's and Michigan to say, "Yo, I'm gonna go play for Coach Prime in Colorado." And listen, I was in Colorado, I was in Boulder 3 weeks ago. There's not a lot of us there.
Yeah, I remember you.
Like literally, I was on
Yeah,
campus. But the thing is, the
Yeah,
fact
I
that
mean,
all of a sudden he's opening the door. But let's be honest here. Again, this could happen, couldn't happen. But what would it look like for a Notre Dame to say, you know what, let's call, Eddie Robinson Jr. Because we see what he's doing down at Alabama State. Like all of a sudden he's bringing attention to not just HBCUs, but the talents that exists across blackness, that is usually marginalized. But the fact that right now people are literally pissing on his jersey on his jersey and at Jackson State and burn it, it's crazy.
if Eddie Robinson Jr. got pulled up at Notre Dame, and I believe Notre Dame's head coach is black too, but
Yeah,
it would
that's true.
like you would get like that, and that's what I mean by like get demonized by your own folks. Other folks don't do that, right? Like black folks want to drag you for, again, like you say something about Beyonce, the Beehive, ooh, the Beehive. They come drag you. Like, you can't drag me. Like, folks have been drugged behind trucks and lynched. So how, like, just you saying you gonna drag me? Who you think you are, right? We want to. We will do our own so wrong instead of supporting and saying thank you for coming down and elevating us and elevating the issues that we had. Thank you for making us a winning program. Thank you for putting HBCUs back in the spotlight with attention along with Chris Paul and other folks. Thank you. Right? Byron Allen, I was just watching Howard and who was that playing the other night on the Griot channel. Watch Byron Allen's channels. Yeah, he on the Weather Channel, the Griot. Like, you have opportunity. You drink Hennessy all day long and Crown Royal all day long. I used to be a Crown drinker, Larry, know that. But I don't buy that shit no more. I buy Uncle Nearest. You got black owned brands, but you don't put your money where your mouth at, right? You got black owned bank, you got black banks, right? But if somebody makes a move, we want to quote drag them, we want to ride on them, we want to rail on them, piss on their as you know. I just don't subscribe to that behavior because you elevated us during that time, and you're moving into a different season, and it's okay,
Yeah.
right? Um, we got plenty of folks to be mad at. Hell, you more mad at Deion than you mad at this Negro that shot. I almost said something else. This Negro that shot 2 people up here in Baltimore. Last 4 people killed in Park Heights in a 24-hour period the other day in Baltimore City, and you got Negroes on here talking about some Deion Sanders leaving. What are you talking about? like you up here mad at Deion Sanders, but you're not fuming hot, growing horns out of your head, mad at a guy that is still out there, that somebody knows what happened, and you sticking to some no snitching, carrying on, and you got a terrorist that literally is out there. Several of them running around, and it's just Baltimore. I can go on Memphis, Chicago, New York,
New York City,
but
Brooklyn.
you're not dragging them, right? You know what I'm saying? You're not speaking out on what actually matter. You worrying about Jackson State already got a new head coach. They elevated the guy that's been with the program for a couple of years, and they gonna be all right. But you know who not gonna be all right? These mothers of these young men that were murdered. Why don't you drag some of these guys that's out here? And I don't want to sound like Charleston White because somebody gonna say you sound, but you cut on some of these songs, and they just as violent, misogynistic, and crazy, and yada yada yada, talking about killing this person, killing that. Why ain't you dragging them? Because they making money, and they ain't giving your homeboy who got killed, mama, any money to support her, their wife and kids, any money to support her, right? Why ain't you dragging them? Who supporting Dolph's partner and kids? I don't know if he was married. I don't think he was married to her, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but you ain't dragging the cats that they got locked up for that assassination, but you worried about a Dion type situation, right? So I'm just saying, like, our priorities are screwed up because we're always looking for some attention, right? If I can rail on somebody else, that means somebody wanting, he's supposed to be a doctor of psychology. I ain't a doctor of psychology, but I don't want you to see me, so I'm gonna drag and join the mob in railing against you. It's the same reason that a lot of poor whites join lynch mobs. I don't want you to see me how poor and utterly disastrous my life is. So I need some attention. I need some excitement. I'm going to join this foolishness to drag this person, right? Because my life is so miserable. Get a grip on yourself. Read a book. Start writing papers. Stop using fake AI tools and worry about what's important. You worried about Dion, but do you have 529s for your kids? When was the last time? I was just at school the other day talking to kids. When was the last time you was at school? Them ain't pencil and paper. When was the last time you got on these mega black churches that don't offer low interest or 0% loans so people can get houses in communities and can start businesses in communities? It's not fixing up apartments. That's making sure that people are able to have low cost housing that's owned by black folks.
Facts.
Like they build. So I'm building a bigger church so I can get more members, to build a bigger church so I can get more members, and I'm insuring the building and the vehicles with a non-black insurance company or non-black agents. I don't even go to the brother to buy the vehicles in advance for church. I'm banking with. I don't want to get. I'm banking with this bank instead of banking with Harbor Bank in Baltimore, Tri-State Bank in Memphis, right? Carver Federal Savings in New York. Like, but you dragging Dion when you got the whole ministers stand up here, preach to you every Sunday, vacuuming all this money out the community, and seem to don't find ways, tangible ways. And I'm not saying organized religion is bad. Yeah. My dad is a preacher, man, and Like, what are you? And all some churches are doing it, but what are you doing? Same way I say black fraternities and sororities. You sitting and celebrating yourself. You go to meetings, you go eat, you party, and celebrate yourself. I want to join a fraternity. I would like to. I just can't because tell me how you different than the GDs or Vice Lords or Bloods or Crips. You throwing your signs, you celebrate you got totally legit Crips, right? So I'm just saying, like, what are we talking about here? Y'all so busy dragging Dion because you're trying to hide your own insecurities because you don't want nobody to see how miserable you are and how attention starved you are and how unintellectual you are that you can't even analyze what's happening around you and understand that's the Dion going to Colorado and Jackson State get a new coach are the least of your issues when you step out of your front door. But you going to this big old church and paying money in every week and you can't even get the church to finance your mortgage or to finance the mortgage on a set of apartments so y'all can have somewhere decent to live, right? The church this church that might have millions of dollars in their coffers would allow you to try and go get a 6 point something percent interest loan for a damn mortgage when they could just mortgage your $100,000 house out to you at 1% or 0.5%, and you pay them back. They make a little change. You ain't got to pay all this extra money to the bank and deal with these shady folks. But that ain't what happened, and does it? But what we do is we'll get online and do them Twitter fingers and roast Dion. You know what I'm saying? But this is why I get kicked out of churches, and this is why they don't let me come to protests, and I don't come to stuff. They don't invite me to protest no more. Because I'm gonna tell it like it is. Yeah, these white folk do some real messed up stuff, but you need to check your own conduct and your own behaviors and how you're contributing to a white supremacist culture as well. Yep, I said it. So that's the problem I have, man. I said a whole bunch. I know we're over time. I said a whole bunch, but that's
No,
the
but
problem.
it was needed to be said because like I've said before, I try to balance what I hear and what I'm taking in between my African lens, where sometimes I just get stuck. Like, why? Like that don't make no kind of sense. But then at the same time, I have to accept that it's not something that's unique to America. In Nigeria, people are doing the exact same thing. You go to Haiti, you go to Jamaica, black people are doing the exact same thing. And the question is always when does that stop? When do we really, stop backbiting each other and really start asking how do we really build something that's sustainable? And you may listen. Some people might be laughing about he talked about he should be a crown drinker now. He's not. He's going, but that's legitimate because again, how do we expect to rebuild or build something of significance if we're not willing to put our money where our mouth is?
Yeah,
but again,
Uncle Nearest taught Jack Daniels how to fucking make.
Yeah, it's funny. You told me about that, and I went and looked. I found a documentary on YouTube, and I was like, "Damn, that's crazy."
It's real shit. I went down to it's the most beautiful thing ever. I went to that $55 million bill out down in Shelbyville, Tennessee. When I went down to my grandfather's funeral, we're driving back, and you walk in there and you see these pictures of black folk, beautiful facility. They won every whiskey award on the planet. That is reclaiming what was stolen from us. So if you're a whiskey drinker, you should be drinking Uncle Nearest, right? Because it's a reclaiming of a recipe that we started. He taught Jack Daniels, and now that's the biggest whiskey brand in the world. Come on. But we mad at Dion.
Yeah.
Folks still using our recipe to make billions of dollars, but we mad at Dion. It's funny though, man.
Yeah. But thumbs up. We started a little bit late, but we are definitely over the hour, and I hope if you're listening, at minimum, you're given a pause for thought. Something to really to think about, because at the end of the day, we can talk about these issues, and the question is always going to be, what are you going to do? And some people might say, well, I'm only one person, but it starts with one person. So if it's making a decision to write a check out, like, it's funny, like, listen, what is $25 a month? But that's what Dave Chappelle's mom was doing to the United Negro College Fund. So I wonder how many people were touched by a penny, a dime, or a dollar from that check at some point in time, who would never know that their benefactor was Dave Chappelle's mom's. At some point in time, we have to start building what makes sense, for ourselves, so that we can also teach our children to make better choices, so that's one day we're not still having these conversations. Like, sometimes I don't even know what to say, because it's very disturbing.
Yeah, I just think 100,000 black folks right now just committed to writing a check for $25 a month. There's 100,000. Just even the state of Maryland, 100,000 black. That's $2.5 million a month that will go to HBCUs. That's a lot less cigarettes, a lot less Cheetos, a lot less liquor, fried chicken.
Even if it was just $1, but I want to know, like, what is the biggest check that more, like, the average HBCU gets? What's the biggest check?
I mean, that's
I know some of them go crazy over $50,000.
Yeah.
And we have schools here, $50,000. You get a brick. There's some PWIs for $50,000. You get a brick on the wall, saying that, yes, thank you. In some black colleges, you might get a whole entire building named after you for $50,000. Like, the scale is off.
Just invest.
Yeah.
Just invest in what you want to see. Listen.
Yeah.
Again, as always, people, enjoy your privileges while you have them. Be safe. Be well out there. Again, enjoy your privileges while you have them. Again, be safe and be well. I love everybody. Again, God willing, the creek don't rise. Shout out to all my people in Mississippi. They know what I'm talking about. God willing, the creek don't rise. We will be here next week joining you all.
Y'all be well, be safe. God bless. Have a good night.
And now he's been promoted. His job, principal.